Hello, my name's Charlie. If you don't know me yet, I'm a Pokemon professor and collector. I love to buy, trade, and sell cards in my free time. And just recently I did a show where I was at Cardboard Diamonds. It was a great turnout. We had a lot of great people. And here are some of the deals that I did today. So the first deal I want to talk about was actually a deal that I did at the Lloyd Center about like a week ago. So somebody had the Pokemon Center exclusive Team Rocket briefcase. It was something I really wanted to get, but I missed the drop when it happened on PokemonCenter.com. So I was quite surprised to see one at the show. The person was trying to get rid of it. They wanted to get a fair price for it. I ended up trading that 151 SIR Charizard right there, and I paid a little bit of cash on top. So it's worth about anywhere in the $250 to $300 market. It's a really nice briefcase. Yeah, so here's a picture of the briefcase. I'm using it now for all my decks and stuff for playing, but it was technically still sealed. I know you saw in the photo that it was opened, but everything that came with it was still included, which was part of that right there. It was a booster box of Glory of Team Rocket. That's the Japanese version of Destined Rivals that just came out here in America recently. So I'm not too big on sealed. I realized I kind of had to take it in as part of a combo deal to get the briefcase. So the first deal that I did of the day was selling that booster box to a vendor friend. So I sold that booster box for about $80. Although I will say it wasn't actually $80, it was about $55, and I also got this really cool Porygon 2 card. For anybody who doesn't know, I like Porygon. Trying to do a master set of them. Trying to get every single Porygon out there, so y'all got any Porygons? Let me know. So the first deal I did for the day were for these two Mimikyu promo cards. They were still sealed. Customer found them out of my bulk box, which surprises me sometimes because I do my best to organize the bulk box, but every once in a while I do just throw stuff in there, stuff that I'm just wanting to try to move. So that was a cool find. That was a great start to the day. So that was $10. The next deal I did were for this batch of cards here. This was a collector just kind of browsing around, window shopping. But they were also a player, which I thought was really cool. You don't see too many players at card shows, so they were actually looking for that specific card right there, the Precious Trolley, the pink card. It's a card that's going to help them with their deck, and I happen to have one in one of my decks, which I didn't need anymore. So I was like, you know what, I'll give you that. We can sell you that one. That's fine. The Metang I think was about $5. The Whoopers. All in all, this one turned out to be a $10 sale, so I sold all these cards for $10. This next sale was one of my bigger sales I had for the day. This person, they knew exactly what they were looking for. They were shopping for a friend's birthday, and they also had their eyes on a couple other things. So yeah, they bought all 11 of these cards, which you can see there's some pretty nice arts in there. We do have some simple base EXs, a couple full arts, but a couple IRs and some SIRs too. That Miriam, I was kind of iffy on selling it because I know that card was going to get more expensive with time, but hey, sell it now, why not? This whole pile sold for $65. Very simple sale here. This person wanted this full art Spark promo card from the Pokemon Go series. This is a $2 card, very simple. For this next one, this person wanted a couple cards out of my bulk box, but they didn't really have any money to spend. But they did have some trades, so I decided to look at their binder, and I chose those two cards there, the Larvesta IR and the Full Art Daisy's Help. So those two cards came into my possession, and the seller walked away with all of those bulk cards up top. And we called that a straight trade, pretty much. So pretty much no gained value, no lost value, just a straight trade. A couple cards out of my bulk box for some very nice IRs for the binder. I did another straight trade almost right after that. The person really wanted my Rainbow Flannery card. I looked at their binder, saw their very nice Trainer Gallery Gallade V. Both of those cards' value is pretty much right on the dollar, at least at the time of the show. So we called it a straight trade, card for card. This next deal I did, another person found another sealed card, sealed McDonald's promo card out of my bulk box. It was the Alolan Meowth. Looked at their stuff. Turns out they had a Porygon Z that I needed for the Porygon Master set. So I took that card in, but it still ended up being $1 in my favor. So I got $1 and a Porygon card for that Meowth right there. I then sold these two cards out of my bulk box, just two simple cards that somebody was on the hunt for. They were just kind of looking for some cute cards to add to their binder. I was all too happy to oblige, so those 2 cards I sold for $2. Okay, so for this next one, guys, this was my biggest purchase for the day, I think. We'll get to this. We'll get to more purchases later, but this was the first purchase I did for the day, and it was a big one. A person was looking to liquidate some of their cards because they wanted to get some money to purchase one big slab that they had their eyes on at the show. So took a look at their stuff. I found plenty of great stuff. I was like blown away. I was like, oh, we can totally make a deal happen. So if you'll see, we got the Dragonair IR from 151. We had the entire Ralts to Gardevoir line from Scarlet Violet base set. That is a very popular collection that people love. I scored the Jesse James full art right there, and then I got 2 IRs from the brand new set, Black Bolt and White Flare. We agreed on 75% for these cards of their value, so I took these cards in for $140. And guys, I'm not even joking, literally the next deal I did, maybe 4 or 5 minutes after the person had walked away, somebody saw the whole 3 Guardy line and asked me how much. So we worked out a trade. They didn't have enough money for the whole line. The whole line's face value at the time of the show was $90. So we agreed on, what did we agree on? So we agreed on $58, and then I took in the bottom 4 cards you see in that photo there. So we took in a full art Fez, we took in the IR Clang from Black Bolt, I took in the IR I can't say the name right, I'm gonna get roasted for this, Reniculus, I think. That is an IR from Temporal Forces, I believe. And then we had the Golden Area Zero card from Stellar Crown, I believe. Yeah, I always favor playable cards. The Fezandipity and the Area Zero, those are playable cards that people love to have for their decks. So that's where I find kind of a stride sometimes at card shows, is because most people at card shows are collectors, they're not players. So they keep asking me like, Charlie, why is this Fezandipity card $20, you know? I'm like, well, it's because it's actually a good card in the deck. If you ever wanted to learn how to play the game, you'd realize that Fezandipity has a really good ability that can help you turn the tide in the game and maybe help you win. And then like that Area Zero card, that allows you to have more Pokemon in the game, which can be very helpful. So yeah, this is, I like when the worlds of playing and collecting collide, and that's why I have a lot of fun at these shows. So yeah, we got $58 for the Guardy line, and then I took in those bottom 4 cards there. Next deal I did was, this person bought a pile of bulk out of my bulk box. It came out to, I think, I didn't write down how many cards it was, but for the bulk box, I usually do 25 cents to $1 per card, depending on the pile, because there's a lot of random stuff in there. But I've always said to players and collectors, anybody who approaches that box, I just say, hey, listen, the more cards you take, the better deal I give you. I tend to drop down quickly to a quarter card pretty fast because people tend to walk away with big piles. So we agreed on 20 bucks for that pile right there. I guess I put the dollar bill in there just to help me with my notes later. In case you guys didn't realize, shows go very fast, and I do my best to write down, you know, what I did in a day so that I can do these videos later on. But it goes really fast. So right now what I'm having to do is I'm writing like notes on the photos that I take so that I can do these videos. But sometimes I end up just throwing the cash in the photo just so to help remind me. So yeah, $20 for that pile right there. And then a little bit later we had another instant flip. If you remember, that card that I took in from the deal that I did was for the IR Litwick from the set of White Flare. That was part of the card, part of the bundle I took in. Ended up selling it. Somebody came in, they were looking for just black and white IRs because they're trying to master that set, which, hey, Godspeed, because there's a lot in that set. They did an art rare for every single Pokemon in the Unova region, so I was like, nope, not for me. I'm not going to master that set, but I respect the people that are, and I was happy to help. This card, at the time of the show, this card was valued at $12, so I sold it for $12. For this next one, this was a bit of an amalgamation of a bunch of things that I had, which I thought was cool. So if you'll notice on the top row, everything on that top row, that's all from the bulk box. So all of those cards in the pile there on the right side, that was all from the bulk box. They even found another sealed card from my bulk box, another, I think it was a McDonald's promo, the Litten. They looked in my binder and they found the Vivillon art rare that they wanted, and then they even bought one of my Quaxley pins. Those were some trinkets that I got when I was a Pokemon Professor Play Lab, helper over in Las Vegas for the Level Up Expo. That was a lot of fun, and I was happy to find somebody who wanted the pin. I already had plenty myself, so I wanted to share the love, and this pile with the pin and the art rare included, this pile sold for $35. Quick and easy transaction. Dude just wanted a full art Mamoswine EX. Might have been for a deck, might have not been. I don't know. I do know it's a little playable, not really. You know, to each their own though. It was a very simple $2 sale. So, if you remember that guy I told you about who was trying to master all of Black Bolt and White Flare, he's also going for the Master Ball Hollows, which for anyone who doesn't know means basically there's, let's just say, okay, if a set has 400 cards in it, about 100 of those cards are going to be cards like the Litwick you saw that have like really nice artwork, like the entire card is artwork. So like a decent percentage of a set is going to be art rares, secret rares, the expensive stuff, typically. He's going for the full master set, which means he's going for the reverse holos or the higher rarity holographic versions of the not so rare cards. So these two cards here, Vanillish and Lillipup? Oh my goodness, I'm a fake fan. Lillipup. Goodness, God, my brain. These two cards have normal versions that don't have those little Master Ball holo patterns that you see on the cards there. So whenever you come across a Master Ball holo, that is rare. It makes the card more rare. It's a rarer variant. And he wants to find all the common cards with that variant on it. Again, Godspeed, my guy. That's crazy work. I mean, I consider myself a pretty serious collector, but I don't think I could ever do that. That just feels like headaches. So I ended up selling him these two cards for $8 because on average a Master Ball pattern will be like $3 to $4. So yeah, quick $8 sale there. We had another customer come up and enjoy the wonders of the bulk box. They found that pile on the right side there, and then they found those three cards out of my binder. I was sensing a cute theme here, or at least a Wooper and a Clodsire theme. Very cute cards. He's such a lovable boy. You gotta love him. This whole pile, all the cards in the photo, this pile sold for $8. Here's another pile of bulk that sold from the box. This pile sold for $5. These four cards I sold for $1. Somebody was looking for switches, and I had a few. So, $1 for these four cards. Another pile of bulk, I sold this pile for $2. I was sensing we had a cute-themed collector here, because that Clefairy swinging on the swing I think is just super cute. And then, of course, you have an Eevee. Everybody loves Eevee. OG Bulbasaur, we got that Mantine from Neo, and then an Unknown Eye. So, pretty good old stuff. Yeah, Neo stuff, base stuff, some Eevee action, and yeah, $2 for the pile. Kind of had a bad angle on this one. This one happened really fast, but it was another pile of bulk. It was two friends, so there's two piles there. The one friend only wanted the two cards on the right there. The other friend was the one who got a bit more. They found a few holographics in there. This pile with the two friends total sold for $15, so there was a bunch of cards under there. So for this next photo you see here, bunch of cards on the binder. This was a bunch of cards I took in, so these were cards I purchased. These cards came from a buddy of mine, a buddy who is also a fellow player. Taking almost one look at this pile, I knew exactly what this pile was, and these were a bunch of cards that had just recently rotated out of Standard Edition Pokemon. So for anybody who doesn't play, Pokemon cards have regulation letters on them that tell you if they're legal to use in official tournaments or not. So that way you can't use like a card from 1995 because it doesn't really work in today's version of Pokemon. And so now we kind of rotate every year through letters, and it started with I think D. It went like D, E, F, and then it became E, F, G, G, H, I. It circles through three letters every time. So I was looking at all these cards, and I could tell by the yellow border, I could tell by the letter, like a lot of these were E and F regulation cards. These were playable cards at one point. They were really good, but they just recently rotated out of Standard, so we could no longer use them in decks. So I took one look at that, I took one look at him, and I was like, we're liquidating for Standard, right? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, alright. I still took these cards in because even though they're not playable, these are still really good artworks, and people love this stuff. So I took in this whole pile, all these cards here that you see. This pile I bought at 75%, which was $75, yeah. This turned out to be, I think, a $100 flat face value. So, yeah, $75 to help out a friend. I then had actually another player show up at my table. I guess word was getting around that I was the player-friendly vendor. We had a player just kind of looking for some cards they needed for their deck. Thankfully, outside of vending, I also do a lot of professoring, a lot of judging. I love to teach the game. I keep all of my deck buildable stuff separate and organized. Organized by the type of card, alphabetically. So I can find a playable card instantly. I can tell you right away if I have it or not. So he told me he was looking for some Pikachu EXs and he needed a Lily's Clefairy, and I was like, I got you. I pulled them out in 2 seconds flat. He also needed some trainers for his deck. I didn't even charge him for the trainers. I'll always say I give the players the best rates. So I only charged him for the Pikachus and the Clefairy, which totaled to $14. The trainers I threw in, because you gotta help the players. And then for one of my last few deals for the day, I had somebody, this was literally while I was packing up. If you'll notice, there's like nothing in the case underneath me. So literally as I was packing up, somebody was like, oh, can I just look at your binder real quick? So I was like, yeah, of course. He ends up pulling all of this out. So I was like, okay. So if you'll notice, one of those cards there is the Reniculus that we purchased earlier that day. So that was an instant flip. We also flipped that Mew card right next to it because that was a card that I had just taken in from my buddy. So those two cards were instantly flipped, bought them that day, sold them that day. And then everything else there was stuff that he wanted. So I was happy to oblige. This whole pile sold for $66. Like on my way out, you know, like I'm trying to leave, but I'm just like, well, there's more money to be made. And then I did forget to take a photo of it, but I did have 2 more graded guards that I was helping out a friend to get. Thankfully, I got in on some of those orders before they sold out instantly on graded guard. I was hooking a friend up, so I also sold 2 graded guards. The graded guard sold for $25, the Iris. And then Melon, I guess, is a bit more rare, apparently. It's a bit more valuable. That one, there were like some eBay sales for like 60, 70. I was like, that's way too much. There's no way. And it's not what I paid for it, so I didn't want to rip the guy off. So we agreed. I think it turned out to be... Yeah, so it turned out to be $45 for the Melon. So I made an extra, let's see, 40, 60. I made an extra $70 selling those guards. And then lastly, you know I'm always on the hunt for that personal collection. There's a bunch of master sets that I'm working on. This card, this was a Series 3 Cardus Prism Gyarados, which I was so pumped to find. This card I did not find at this show. I had actually found it at Lloyd the week prior, and I traded a card for it. So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how much value-wise. It came where, I think it was like around 20, 25 bucks, something like that. But I actually ended up leaving it there on accident. Thank goodness my friend who vends with me was there because he grabbed it and was able to get it back to me at this show. So that's why I'm showing you guys this photo now, because this is I love this set so much. It's so beautiful. It's a funny story, but yeah, it turned out it was like a card for card. I just can't remember how much value wise. So somewhere within the $20 to $30 range. I'm not gonna affect the counter on that because that wasn't for this show. And then last but not least, guys, this one requires a bit of a backstory, okay? As a kid, my introduction into Pokemon happened around the time of, well, the Hoenn era. So Ruby Sapphire really hit my stride during Diamond Pearl, the 4th generation. And that was around the time that I was going to like a card shop that was in my hometown growing up. When I was learning about the game, making friends, it became the thing that I looked forward to on Monday nights. It was like, oh my god, I get to go to the card shop. I get to go hang out with friends. So yeah, I had a friend of mine, fellow vendor. His name is Lucky Luke. I'll throw his symbol up there if he wants. I'll message him about it, and if he says yes, there it is in the post-production. Go follow him. He's really cool. He had those in a display case, these 2 deck boxes, or starter decks from Platinum era. And you know, I'm just staring at these during the whole show because we're on different ends of the room looking right at each other. I'm just staring at these and I'm like, I really want them. So we get to talking. He shared in the nostalgia. These were products from his childhood that had survived I'm calling it the high school purge because I'm sure a lot of you can relate to a time in your life where you probably got rid of a lot of Pokemon product and are now regretting it because of, oh, it's worth money. So these are some amazing relics that survived the test of time. This is from 2009, guys. These starter decks. I'm staring at him. He knows I'm staring at him. We're talking about him. His starting price was at 200. I think it was 80 for the Shaman and then 120 for the Giratina. And you know, we're talking. It's like, yeah, you know, these aren't exactly things that sell that often, but they are niche. They do demand a premium for being this old and still unopened. We both appreciated the fact that this wasn't a purchase from a vendor to resell. This was a, hey, I want to put this on my shelf because this is just nostalgia, man. This brings back so many happy memories for me. So we reconciled on that. I countered at 100. It was too low for him. We settled at 150 for the pair, and I did 150 half in trade, half in cash. So I gave him a couple cards out of my binder. I really wish I took a photo of that, but I did not. It was like 3 or 4 middle range cards, you know, like between the $5 and $20 range. You know, I got him a little bit of stuff that he can throw onto his table and stuff that will move. And then I paid him $75 for that pair right there. And now they very happily sit on my shelf. Yeah, so if you guys were following along like I was, for like vending purposes for cards that I took in today, I spent about $215 taking in cards. I did spend $75 on top of that for those platinum starter decks. So we spent about $290. But the way I was doing the counter for this video was I was just kind of going up and down with it with each photo. So after today, with everything I sold, even with the stuff that I took in and the stuff that I still have that I took in today, I am currently up $171. Pause. Post-production Charlie here. Sorry, I forgot I sold one more card. Again, it was another instant flip. The Jesse James full art card. After I had took it in, somebody later on saw it and was hesitant at first, but then agreed to the market price, which was $50. So I sold that card. Again, another instant flip for $50. Yeah, all in all, it was a fantastic show. I loved every second of it. It was a great turnout. It was at Cardboard Diamonds, great card shop. If you guys haven't checked it out and you live in Oregon, come check it out. Here's the logo right there. I'll ask him too, which I'm sure he's fine with. So yeah, go check out Cardboard Diamonds. That was my day buying, trading, and selling at Cardboard Diamonds. I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. If you liked it, please let me know. Comment, let me know, because I'll keep making these. I tried to up the quality for this one compared to my last one, so let me know what you think. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye.